Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching us from. Welcome once again to our second edition. All right. Welcome once again. This is our second edition of the Leadership Talk, and we thank you for making the time to be here. If you've just joined us, this is the Global Leadership Talk Show that comes away every month. And we are a leadership company, and we help you to discover the leadership potential in you and then take you through the journey of developing the leadership potential, and especially with the ethical leadership that will help you make impact in life. Thank you so much. Last edition, we looked at what leadership is, and then we also looked at how we can build our leadership skills, what leadership is, what it is not, and how we can be great leaders with ethical leadership principles. And this night or morning, depending on where you are, we are having this important discussion, which will be centering around leadership, women in leadership, women in leadership. So we are looking at breaking the barriers and building bridges when it comes to women in leadership. And we are privileged to have two distinguished women leaders who have made impact in their various fields to share their experiences with us. So we are privileged to be hosting Dr. Genevieve Pearl Duncan Obobi. Doc is a passionate, collaborative African business leader dedicated to the development of individuals and then empowering women and youth in the realm of leadership and entrepreneurial growth. With a focus on customer experience and leadership strategy, she is also a sought after SME consultant, global speaker, and coach and mentor. I think I should see her after this show. She is driven by the mission of helping women led businesses achieve scalability through capacity building, B2B coaching, international exposure, and leadership development. Doug boasts an impressive 18-year tenure in the service industry. Wow. She has acquired extensive experience in relationship management, team leadership, business development, and bank branch management. Her commitment to excellence has earned her multiple awards in banking and finance, people skills, authorship, coaching and mentoring, and women and youth economic empowerment. Acknowledged as one of the 100 most impactful change makers in Africa by the Humanitarian Awards Global 2022 and recognized among 40 most influential female leaders in Ghana by Youth Global Network in 2020. She is a staunch advocate of sustainable development goals 5, 7, 8, and 17. Wow. You can see that she's really loaded. She holds a doctorate degree from Swiss Business School, Zurich, MBA in marketing from University of Ghana, and a bachelor's degree in business administration from GIMPA. She is certified by the US, by Harvard USA, Cranfield UK, and CEIBS Shanghai for executive education. She is currently the lead consultant at Tarragon Edge. I hope I got that right, Ghana, and a business development consultant at Crucible Afrique LLC, Dubai. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest, Dr. Genevieve Pearl Duncan Obobi. Doc, thank you so much for making the time to join us. We are privileged. We know how busy you are, and we thank God that you made the time to be here. Thank you so much. In the course of the discussion, we'll also be expecting Reverend Moha Fasahi, who is a transformation manager at the Consolidated Bank, Ghana. She is certified as a professional trainer and a change practitioner. She's passionate about serving God and people and has been in active ministry for over 20 years, performing various roles. So she will join us in the course of the discussion and then we'll continue. So, Doc, Before we start, I just want you to give us a few words, something that we missed, or in your introduction, or just give us your beginning comments.
Thank you very much, Patricia. I must say it's humbling to be on this platform and to be part of tonight's discussion. I think everything you said is okay, but I just want to say that it's not so much to do with all the qualifications and all the great feat that one has achieved. But for me, it's more about sharing knowledge and also whatever you've acquired in terms of knowledge, giving it back and impacting others' lives. Leadership, as we all know, is not so much to do with the position or the titles that one acquires, but more to do with giving back, becoming a better person, and also developing other people to take up the mantle when you are no more. So that is how I would start the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Indeed. It's about sharing knowledge, it's about impacting lives. And when it comes to leadership, it's not about the title, it's not about position, it's about how you influence and impact life. Thank you so much. Right. So, we are talking about women empowerment or empower women in leadership. And we are focusing on breaking the barriers and building bridges to ensure that women get to the top. So let's start our discussion with some of the barriers that women face in aspiring to be leaders and leaders at the top level or from the middle level going. So help us understand what barriers there are, because there's been a lot of talk about women and the fact that even in nation building, we look at parliament and we say how many women are there. We look at the executive position, the ministry, the ministers, and we look ask ourselves how many women are there. So help us. What is stopping women from achieving so high in terms of leadership?
Thank you so much, Patricia. I'm a very practical person, so I'll start from us.
Of course.
I don't I will start from us, as in
Of
we the
course.
individuals. I
Exactly.
think most times, I think our own personal limitations. Women, as we all know, have quite a lot to offer in terms of society, in terms of family life, and all that. But I keep saying that to me, it's a fallacy to say that you cannot have it all. You can be a great career woman, you can have a beautiful home, you can also serve community, you can get to the pinnacle of your career. It's all about being intentional. That is how I would start the conversation. I don't believe too much in not being able to integrate. I don't like using the word balance because there is nothing like balance in my end. I
Exactly.
think you can just integrate every aspect of your life more than saying you want to have a balance. So for instance, a woman trying to achieve the best in terms of your career. Yes, somewhere along the line you might give birth. So you might be off work practically for like 3 months or 4 months in some cases. But the point is that once you are back to work, nothing stops you from continuing from where you stop. I have had the opportunity to deal with a lot of young women who would use either family life, their own individual issues in terms of funding and all that to prevent themselves from upgrading. So I will start from us. That is why I want to look at it from personal limitation. And the word for me to you this evening is that it is not true that you cannot have it all. But the key word or the key takeout from this discussion for me about personal limitation is about being intentional, about falling on something called support system. You cannot do it all by yourself. Women, we all know that we are multitaskers. We can do so many things at the same time. But we are humans. We are just like any other human being. We are like a man. We
Yeah.
can break down. So don't take all the burden. Don't make it look like you're a superwoman because you are not. You have your superhero. You have things that can make you do better or can make you excel. But don't shy away from asking for help. The word ask itself says we should ask. The A I here stands for ask. The S stands for seek. The K, sorry, stands for knock. That's what the Bible says.
Yeah.
And in practicality, ask. If you need support, ask. I have been very blessed with my mother. A lot of the things I do going up and down with work, school, and all that, if I didn't have that support system, I'm not sure I would be here. But you can't always get maybe a family member to be your support system. But I think there is still someone out there that when you ask for help, you will get. So that's the first thing I would say.
Okay.
That is the first limitation. The second limitation I would talk about is I think from where we are coming from and globally, from representation of women in terms of leadership and all that, it's been highly said, and that's why the equality and equity and diversity talk started. There
Yeah.
has been a lot of women that cannot get to the top of their career. So there is that bias and discrimination against women. And I think I would want to match it up with the first point I made, our self limitation, because most times I think women, sometimes the excuses are a lot. We ourselves limit ourselves and we say, because I have done this. When you are at a board meeting and you need to produce results, it's not now that you're going to talk about your children, your family, and all that. Because leadership to me has no gender. But you need to just prioritize to make sure that at least when you are given the role, you do it and you do it well. That's the second thing. The third thing is, I'll say, lack of flexibility. So this one, I'm also going back to our organizations and our communities. What it says is that because women have peculiar issues, I always say that it would be good for organizations to have at the back of their minds that the diversity is very critical. However, because of the cycle of a woman, what we go through in terms of having children, in terms of something sometimes bouncing back and all that, you need to be flexible. So I know a lot of organizations, including where I left, actually took this and decided that look, because our women most times are giving us results, but they have peculiar challenges. Women sometimes don't have people to even take care of their kids. House helps or assistants that we use at home would come and go. The turnover is a lot. So I know a lot of institutions, including Fidelity Bank, we came up with a nursery where
Yeah.
women can drop their kids and focus whilst they are at work. So they know that their mind is all here working. Once they are done with work, they pick up their kids and go. So there is that kind of flexibility. That is one of the major barrier. And so if organizations can come up with some flexible hours, now I think a lot of HR or a lot of
Yeah.
human capital heads have started coming up with flexi hours
Yeah.
thanks to COVID. Now we can work from home. So organizations can actually continue as if we are in COVID and schedule it in such a way that women can still be productive at work and also focus on the other areas that matter. And then the next thing I'll talk about is networking or fewer connection. A lot of women are not in the right networks. So when it comes to actually making sure that there are systems in place that will move them to the next level, they don't have. They don't have anyone who would speak on their behalf. And now we've all heard that your network is your network. So if you build a great and solid network, here I would like to actually focus more on collaboration. So it's not a network that is just you, self-centered. No, it's only when you need something that you come to Dr. Genevieve or you go to Patricia. No, it should be a system where it's a win-win situation. You give and I give. So there is that collaboration. Once the fewer network or the fewer connection barrier is broken, and we have great collaborations with people, I think looking at these four basic areas that I have mentioned in terms of barriers, I think women can now get to rise. And my advice here is that we won't always be here. Tomorrow, or maybe in the couple of years to come, Patricia, you can't do what you're doing. I can't do what
Exactly.
I'm doing. We need to have built other women to take over. So, for my women out there, I don't want to use this phrase that has been overly used that we are our own enemies. I don't believe in that. I believe that when a woman is up there, she should just raise two, three more women to get
Men.
up there so that
That's
tomorrow when you are not there, these women can take over. So these are a few things I would like to say in answering your question about barriers. Thank you.
wow. Wow. Thank you so much, Doc. This is very insightful. In fact, I like the point you made about the fact that women can have it all. And I mean, I share that opinion. So I'm so excited that I have somebody, at least I know one person who also shares that opinion and believes that we can actually have it all. You can have a beautiful, successful home, can have a beautiful, successful career, and making impact in society and all that. You can do it.
You
So
just have to
and
be intentional about it. That's it.
exactly, you just have to be intentional. So self-limitation. I like that, Father. You started with that point first. Let's start looking at ourselves. Because sometimes even HR, I'm an HR practitioner, so we talk about the fact that we need leaders, we need HR people to be at the table, at the boardroom, and I'm like, okay, but who will take you there? You have to position
Prepare
yourself, or let's
yourself.
take
Yes,
yourself there.
that's it.
So, ladies, women, we can have it all. Let's be intentional and let's position ourselves well so that we can get to the top. And please, when you get there, hold other people's hands and take them there. The next generation of leaders is depending on you, right? Thank you so much. This is so
You're
insightful.
welcome.
Okay, now let's come to you personally. Right. Which of these limitations or barriers have you personally experienced as you were climbing the ladder in leadership? And how did you manage it, or how did you deal with it? Because I see you as one of the top leaders that we have in Ghana, and you are inspiring a lot of young people. So tell us, how did you get there? How did you overcome some of
Um,
these barriers?
I would say that I was privileged, let me put it like that, to grow up in a very great support system. That's why I talked about support system.
Yeah.
And the support system here, I'm not referring to just my family members, but I've been blessed with coaches, I've been blessed with mentors, and I think I have also been very intentional. And the word I would want to focus more today is on intentionality. And I've also been someone who has a very positive mindset. Life throws at us so many things. At a point in my life, I mean, I would say that self limitation could have made me halt, but that is where I even pivoted. And here I'm talking about some part of my life as a woman where I was married and I had to have children and I kept miscarrying. I kept miscarrying for like 8 times. As human as I am, look, I would have given up
Yeah.
if not for the support system. As human as I am, I had just been given the opportunity to, just after 2.5 years in Fidelity Bank, I became a branch manager. Intentionality. I work hard. It's not like somebody liked me and
Like
just gave me that.
exactly.
No. I worked hard. I was very intentional about progress, about consistency. However, this particular self limitation that I spoke about earlier could have prevented me from looking forward. But I think in our negativity, I mean, in our negative experiences or in our challenges, one thing that I want you to remember is that there is no success without some failure stories. So when
Exactly.
you are challenged, just see the challenges as part of the process. I believe in God. So I say that once you believe in God or whatever you believe in, and you don't have control over something, don't dwell too much on it. So I decided that instead of sitting down and crying and wailing and asking God, why me, and all that, I decided by support, by advice. And I remember my dad always in this situation because he gave me a book called Attitude is Everything. And that
Yeah.
book changed my perception by Keith Harrell.
Yeah.
That book changed my perception about so many things I was going through. And I decided that, look, I would be focused on rather educating myself. So that is where I started doing my MBA at Legon, the least opportunity I get. And that was the first time I went to Harvard in 2012. I took the positive aspect of the challenges that if I sit down and I cry, if I sit down and I ask questions, a year will come. If I'm not giving birth, I'm not giving birth. I can't do anything about it,
Of
especially
course.
when you know that you don't have control over some of these things. So you channel the negative into positive because the positive is what will propel you to the future. And today I look back and I'm like, oh my goodness, today I have a child. But if I was looking back and crying and I didn't develop myself, Patricia, I'm not sure I'll be here having this chat with you because I wouldn't have anything to offer. But because I channeled the negative experiences into positivity, and I actually decided that I would rather focus on the ones I can do to develop myself, thanks to my dad and my mom, especially. So I took that initiative, and all those self limitations could have hindered me from progressing. I did not give it a chance. So don't give anything a chance, any barrier a chance when it hits you. We are humans, so things will definitely hit us. But call for help, ask
Of
for advice, and I'm sure you would go beyond the challenges and then you can become a better person. And you will look back some years to come and smile.
Indeed, as you are smiling now, thank you so much. This is really very insightful. Theodora says, "That's great, Doc. Thanks for the motivation and wise counsel." Indeed, indeed, very wise. I mean, if you allow situations to weigh you down and you throw a pity party, you never get up, and you want people to pity you all the time. People will pity you, but it will not really help you. So
Exactly.
thank you so much for sharing that experience with us. So if you're a woman going through any situation, for me, for example, when immediately I got married, I had to move to Cape Coast in Accra. My business was doing well. I'm into HR consulting, and I had to move to Cape Coast because my husband is in Cape Coast, and I decided to start the business there. Cape Coast didn't accept consulting,
Hmm.
so I had to. It got to a time that people asked me or told me to just quit, but there was something. My passion is to help organizations and people, so I wasn't comfortable, and then childbirth, like you said. And when I got pregnant with my child, the doctor said I should stay away from work till delivery. And so I had to close the office and stay at home. And then 3 years later, I go back and restarted. And this is how far the Lord has brought us. So
Thank
nothing should
God.
weigh us down. The
Exactly.
point you made is very important. Sometimes we throw pity party, we limit ourselves and we expect people to pity us or give us handouts or hold our hands. But even people are holding your hands, you need to stretch your hands, right? For them to hold
Exactly.
you and pull you
Exactly.
out.
Exactly. You need to also make an effort.
You need to also make an effort, right? So thank you for sharing this with us. Support
You're
system,
welcome.
please, is very important. Ask for help. Look, there are some women who may say, okay, your mother is around, your mother is helping. My mom is not around. Maybe my mom is late, or my is late. I don't have anybody to help me, or what. Such a person, what advice would you give to her? That I don't have the family to support, like having somebody to take off your baby and all that. So, what advice will you give them?
So, like I said, when I
Because
was
authority
making
is
my,
around.
yeah, when I was making the submission, I said, I used myself and I said, I have been blessed with family, but not just family. I've had
Exactly.
other support systems. So, I think one of the key things for us women is that it's difficult for us to trust. It's difficult for us to speak to someone because we are thinking the next minute our
To be
conversation is
out
going
there
out there, which is very true in most
in the
cases. I
radio
won't lie to
universe.
you.
Yeah.
I will BBC. Let's even use BBC because that's more
BBC.
international. Yeah. So
Exactly.
it is very true. However, my point is you need help. Once you build and maintain relationship, there are some people that definitely you can fall on. You would know the best person to fall on when the time comes. So the key advice is that let's build quality relationship. Everybody has their issues, but definitely when I'm going through something and I call on a sister, we call them posses. We have posses. Find
Yeah.
posses. Find people you can bounce off your ideas and say that I really need help in this area. And I'm sure you would get someone. And most times, if you are religious, pray about some of these things. It can even be a house help, somebody
Yeah.
just coming home to assist you, but God will direct you to the right person. In the event where it doesn't go well and you need to change the person, don't be afraid to change because change is the only constant. Let's keep asking, let's keep changing, let's keep adapting to times and the environments that we find ourselves. And I'm sure we'll be able to go around some of these challenges that as women we go through. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And the men should also support. I mean, I always mention my husband anywhere I go because he's been very supportive. When you talk of support systems, one of the best support I have enjoyed as a woman and as an entrepreneur is my husband. So let's build that support system. Let's You don't know, you look within. It could be a friend, it could be a family member, it could be the connections that you have made. And that is why Doc said that make meaningful connections. be strategic even in your networking so that you are able to get the support that you need. Thank you so much, Doc, for that.
You're welcome.
And we are privileged to have Reverend join us. Okay, so Reverend, thank you so much for joining us. If you've just joined us, this is the Leadership Talk Show brought to you by the Global Leadership Group, a leadership company that helps you discover and develop your leadership potential and helps you to move forward in your leadership. Not just that, but with ethical leadership principles, and that is our core business. Not just about developing leaders, but developing ethical leaders who have integrity. And when you vote or you put the person in a leadership role, the person rules with integrity. And we are privileged to be having this conversation with Dr. Genevieve Pel Duncan Obobi. And then we have Reverend Moha Fasahi. She's a transformation manager with Consolidated Bank Ghana. She's certified as a professional trainer and a change practitioner. She's passionate about serving God and people and has been in active ministry for over 20 years, performing in various roles. Thank you, Reverend, for joining us. Maybe you can just give us brief about what we should expect from this conversation, and then we can continue from there.
All right. Thank you, Patricia. I joined in a bit late, but I've been very blessed by Genevieve's submission. Well, what can I say? I know that what we are bringing to the table is our experiences, and our experiences make us very unique. And, whether we like it or not, when we go through certain experiences in life, they mature us and they put us in a position to be coaches, to be mentors, and to be leaders to others, especially the up and coming generation. So I think that is what we are bringing to the table this evening.
Awesome. And Doc has started so well. I've been sharing the experiences with us. Please, if you are watching us, kindly drop your name and your comments and where you are watching us from. Is a global leadership group where we are everywhere. Leave your comments. If you have any question for our guests, leave them in the comment section. We'll pick it up and then they would help you answer. All right, so let's move on. Doc has already talked about mentorship and coaching, and Reverend has also added that. So my next question is on mentorship and coaching. How has mentorship and coaching helped you as women leaders? And what would you advise other leaders or other young women who are aspiring to be leaders to also do when it comes to coaching and mentorship? Maybe I want to start with Doc and then Reverend continues.
Okay, thank you so much. I started by saying that for me, mentoring and coaching has been one of the key things that have propelled me to who I have become today.
Yeah.
And I would always and any day say that everybody should have a coach, everybody should have somebody they look up to. As I sit here, I tell my mentees all the time that I have people I pay to coach me.
Ah,
My professional development, I have coaches. I have local and I have international coaches. I have people that do it for me for free. So it is not always that we'll get it for free. So let's take the free mentality off. We have people that can mentor you for free, that can coach you for free. But when you have to pay for it to be done, don't think it's something, because it's somebody's profession. It's a
yeah,
key profession on its own. So going into it, I'll say that I have looked, I have watched, I have read about people I have never met before, and I have seen them as mentors in my career path. So you can have a mentor who would never see you, who would never have the opportunity of speaking to you, or you never have the opportunity of hearing that person's voice, but you can read about the person. Nelson Mandela is one person that I personally have followed for years. I was born when Nelson Mandela had lived his life already. He died when I was much younger, but it hasn't stopped me from seeing him as somebody that I can read and become like. So he's been a mentor. I've been blessed with a lot of people around me in terms of professional growth. I have my bosses, I have people who have led me in director roles, who have mentored me. And I always say that if you are privileged to have people around you that you aspire to become like, never for once shy from reading about them. If you have the opportunity, getting closer to them and asking them for help. I would talk about ask and ask and ask today. And then in terms of coaching, coaching is more like we see more as the professional bit, where you are going through some sort of guidance to get to a result that you want to finally get. So I have coaches and I have mentors. And I think that you cannot succeed in this leadership journey without being intentional about coaches and mentors. So that is what I would say. And I have been blessed. And so I also give back. I have a lot of platforms that I coach other young people. I'm very passionate about the youth because I feel we need to catch them young and get them ready. If we all complain that we don't have the right stock, but we are not doing anything about it, then it
Mm-hmm.
means in 5, 10 years' time, it's going to even be worse than what we are seeing today. So
Yeah.
let's all take up somebody's hand and coach and mentor. And to you, the mentees and coaches out there, when you get the opportunity, it is not a platform to be asking for everything because
Thank you.
it's not family members. You're not my child. Mona is not your mother. If she has means to support you in something, she will. But don't make it like asking, because we are human beings. Once I see that the demands are becoming too much and I cannot afford to handle it, I will go back. When you call me, I won't pick up. When you ask me for something, I will not even respond. So I think we all have a responsibility to play when it comes to mentoring and when it comes to coaching. Let's be coachable. Let's be people who are ready to take action plans when we are assigned to do so. And for organizations out there, I would say that let's be intentional about implementing mentoring systems so that our young people in the organizations can also get that mentoring and coaching abilities. As for managers coaching their team members, it happens most times. It's part of our KPIs. But let's be intentional as organizations to implement mentoring systems that can help our young ones to learn from others and then they can propel and become more productive. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Be intentional. Yes, the mantra, and this is not just a cliche. Sometimes we hear something over and over again, and if you are not careful, you think that, oh, this is just one of those things. No, being intentional about life generally is the way to go. I don't know any successful person who was not intentional and has gotten to where they are. So, yes, be intentional and pay if you must, because it's somebody's profession, right? And I like the point that you made. Let's abuse, or let's delete,
Let's
or take
diffuse
away,
it.
or do
Yes.
away with the free mentality. We want everything free, you know, but it costs. If you really want to be the kind of leader that you're aspiring to be, you need to make sacrifices,
You need to
and making
invest.
sacrifices also involves cost. Sacrifice of time, it also involves resources, right? So but be the one that takes the initiative. Please don't let us shy away. I organize a lot of networking programs. So, and you see that men are quick to move about,
Network. Yeah.
network, but women stay. And if you go to them before they talk to you, right? So let's also be intentional about networking, and then let's make the right connections. Solomon says it's very empowering and educative. Thank you, Solomon. Solomon is understanding the fact that leaders or women should also help themselves to get to the top, right? And this is why the discussion is very important, right? Reverend Moha, if you are there, can you also share your experiences with us as far as mentorship and coaching is concerned? Okay, I guess she's not on right now. So we'll continue with the conversation. But if you've just joined that, this is the Global Leadership Talk, and it comes your way every month to help you shape you, help you discover, first of all, your leadership potential, because everybody is a leader in one way or the other. You know, you may not hold a title, you may not hold a position, but you are a leader. Within your community, even within your church, there's somebody who's looking up to you. And you may not realize it, but you are influencing a lot of people. So if you are doing that, then you need to be guided so that you do it right. Okay, so that is what we are, and especially the focus is on women. And Doc has said a lot, and I agree with her 150%. You know, we need to be intentional about getting up there, and we need to position ourselves well. We need to pay the price. We need to pay the price to get there. And some of the things that we have imposed on ourselves, you know, I think that yes, there may be challenges, there may be some biases and all that, but you can also work around it and make sure that you push to get to the top, because leadership, like Doc said, it doesn't have a gender, right? It's not male or female. So anybody at all can be a leader. Thank you for sharing that with us. Now, you said that, was it like 2 or 3 months ago, there was this publication about the fact that when it comes to wages or salaries, realize that women are paid less. I don't know whether you heard that story. Women are paid less, or men are paid more than women. And then there was this talk about inequality in wage and all that. Do you see that as a true, because you've worked a lot of leaders, a lot of women and women leaders, do you see this as the true reflection of the situation? Are women discriminated against in terms of wage? Is there really wage inequality against women? And if there is, what can be done?
Thank you very much. So, per statistics, yes, that is the truth. So, I'm a researcher. So, one statistic says it, I believe that that is what it is. But for me, this is where I stand. I think we need to, as women, have negotiation power. That is one thing. We need to learn the art of negotiation. I have a network called the Wise Network, and I think a couple of months ago, we had someone, Bobby Brown from the UK, take us through negotiation skills. I think women most times are not able to negotiate what our real value is. Once you have value, you need to get value for who you are, value for your money, value for your worth. I always say that it's different from me deciding to do something for free, me
Yeah.
deciding to say I'm giving a discount on something. But when I need to be paid for the value I'm bringing on board, regardless, it shouldn't be because I'm a woman, I'm paid less. But it all depends on one, the value that is perceived you are bringing on board, the reality on the ground in terms of the value that you know you are bringing on board. So we have perceived and we have the reality. And
Yeah.
then the third one is, I would want to say that sometimes if you so need that role, if you so need that job, you can take it from where the discussion goes. You can start off from wherever. And I would want to cite my own example to reiterate a particular talk I want to say. You know,
Yeah.
I remember years back, I was working with a company called Evolve Limited, and I had the opportunity to work with Fidelity Bank. I had worked with Ghana Commercial Bank prior to me working with Fidelity Bank. So at least I had some banking experience. But remember, I wasn't coming straight from the banking angle. I was coming from another angle before I joined Fidelity. So when I was employed like a normal entry level staff. I still remember my first pay, 555 Ghana cedis. I remember so well. And from where I was being paid 600. So definitely it was more than what the bank was offering me. But these are the things I said to myself. One, I am seeing future. That is the first thing. So I need to get the opportunity before I can see the future I want to see. That is the first thing. The second thing is I had a lot of people say things to me in my ears. Oh, you deserve to be on this role and all that and all that. But I remember I said something very significant and I still stick and stand by it. I said that, you know what? For me, it was negotiation. This is what I've been offered and I liked it, so I accepted it. It's not so much as to what I have accepted, but now when I enter, the value I bring on board would show
Yeah.
where I would get to. So I gave myself 5 years to get to senior or middle management. It took me 2.5 years, and I'm always proud about that.
Awesome.
because I was consistent, because I was intentional, because I was committed to giving outstanding results. So that is how I answered this question with wage and all that. Because once I gave value, now I wasn't being paid less than what my male counterpart or my male colleagues were being paid. I was being paid the same salary as my male counterpart because I am bringing value. So all
Value.
I'm trying to say is that let's get our act in place. Let's learn how to negotiate well. That is the one thing I want you to learn. If you haven't, read about it, Google it, negotiation skills. Learn how to negotiate. And also in negotiating, try and show what value you are bringing on board. And don't let it just be lip service value because the actual or the reality will show when you are given the job. And when you are
Yeah.
offered the job, make sure you deliver, you wow your bosses. Make sure you give in your best so that the money that you are even asking, you would even get more than that. So that is how I want to look at it. The statistics are right, but let's put our act right so that we can be able to negotiate more and get value for what we deserve.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Please develop your negotiation skills in this life, eh? Because the world will not give to you. You have to really take what you want from the world, all right? And if you be able to do that, it's by adding value and it's by negotiating right. So let's improve on our negotiation skills and let's be committed to adding value. Be more valuable such that they may not like you, but they will not or
Like your
cannot ignore you.
results. That's it. And they would like your
It's
results. So
They will like
whether
your
they like
results.
you or not, your results is showing. And
Exactly.
that
And
is
the
the
results speak
KPI
for
you do get.
themselves.
Exactly.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
There's a question from Theodora. She said, any advice for someone who is in corporate field but also wants to specialize into training programs aside the work? Because you help SME, you're a consultant, you help businesses and all that. Any advice for Theodora and
Sure.
anybody who may be interested?
Sure. So I always want to go the practical way.
Of
Once
course.
it has no conflict with what you are doing, and it is what you have that you're giving back. I started consulting when I was still in the bank because
Yeah.
it had no conflict with my money business that I was doing in the bank. So once you find a niche that you think that you are able to capitalize or leverage on your expertise to offer, I don't see anything wrong with that. And sometimes you don't need to have a company per se, but
Mm-hmm.
you can
I
start
see.
it from smaller groups. You can start offering your advice, you can start offering your training to smaller groups. So you have networks, you have people who are looking at becoming better. So I coach people on personal development. I coach girls, especially on how to build their confidence. So once I identified that niche, and I got this experience whilst I was working in the bank. So I was doing it for free, but now it's a business, a full-time business.
Of
I
course.
coach you and I
Yeah.
charge per
That's
hour.
all.
Yes, so you can start it on a small scale. I always want to say you think locally, but you think locally, you work locally, but you are
You
foreseeing it
think?
into the future. Global thinking. So the
Yeah.
point is that start small, but have growing and scaling up in the mind when it comes to future. So, Theodora, you can actually start whatever you're passionate about doing now with smaller groups, even if you have what it takes to handle it and do your corporate work at the same time. I don't think there is anything wrong with it. But the advice here is that because we are being paid to do what we are being paid to do, let's
Mm-hmm.
ensure that no matter what we add, we still give results. Me, my career path, nothing stopped me from doing the things that I wanted to do because I
Mm-hmm.
was blessed with an enabling environment. But not just that, I was also very conscious on giving value. So even if you talk about what I'm doing by the side, I'm giving you results. So what do you have to complain about? You get it. So let's still give value for what we are being paid for. And then let's also focus on building our own systems and our own brands and the things we are passionate about. Because you won't be in the corporate system forever. Someday you would progress, you would start something for yourself. So start it whilst you have the opportunity to. That's how I would put it.
Yes, thank you. So, yes, you can, but don't let it conflict or affect the results at the place where you are being paid for the hours that you need and for the expertise that you need to put at their disposal. Yes, because we advise people that no, have multiple streams of income and all that. But you see, what you and Doc said it right. You can't give what you don't have. So don't think that, oh, Doc is into SME consulting, so I want to go there. Do you have it
What it
to
takes.
give to them? Maybe yours is not in that area. So look at your area. Look at everybody. God has gifted us with talents, abilities, gifts. So you need to identify yours, and that is when you develop it, and then you use it to make the impact. And then as you're making the impact, you are solving problems and you are getting cash. Now Doc charges per hour. It didn't just start like that. So she's made the investment, so let's also do that, and it will help us. But please, I'm talking to you as an HR person. Don't let it affect your work,
The
otherwise you
result.
get the queries and all that, right? So, Chodora, I'm sure your question has been answered. Doc, we are continuing with the conversation. Okay, okay. So I think Celestina I don't know whether he's adding on to what the question that Chodora asked. Says, because in some workplace, women are not allowed to take up some portfolios because they might skip work for a reason.
A natural reason. I
Natural
get you.
reason. Oh, yeah, okay. In fact,
It's very interesting. Let me just pass this comment.
yes,
So many years ago when I was at commercial bank, all my bosses knew that I had a peculiar problem at the end of the month. And when I say that, I know you all
yeah,
understand.
we do.
As women, we have issues. And
Yeah.
even our own women will say, they won't share. It means you are some way. We all go through this. But you see, we are different people. So the natural reasons can be childbirth, can be the monthly flows that I spoke about, can be other issues. But what I would want to say is that when you feel that you have a peculiar issue, like in my case, I made my bosses aware that, look, I have dysmenorrhea. It's very painful. I can't even concentrate. So it got to a time that the first 2 days of the month, I don't even go to work. And it was something that I had communicated. Aside that, if it has to do with challenges that you don't have to do, I mean, there is nothing you can do about it. What it is that there are biases, like I rightly said.
Yeah.
But there is always someone who would have a listening ear. But in the environment where, unfortunately, the bias is so much that you cannot do anything about it, there is a book I read, Managing Yourself and Managing Your Boss. It's a Harvard business book.
Ah,
Look, you just need to learn how to manage people around you. If you don't have control over something, don't let it weigh you down. If for some reason you're not given the opportunity to do or be in a particular role, probably it's part of the learning process. Tomorrow, you would have learned enough to get an environment that would allow you to do all the things that you want to do and still to give you the roles that, although your natural things, I do this because the natural things are there. We can't do anything about it. But we need to find enabling environment. Organizations today are very, very intentional about these things too. And I think a lot of organizations are becoming better than what we
yeah,
used to see. So the
yeah.
biases are there, but I think the continuous education is making some organizations more flexible when it comes to assisting women to also get to the top, because the diversity, the organization will gain even better. When
Yeah.
we have diversity on the board, when we have diversity in terms of roles and leadership role, you bring your idea. Women are more aesthetic. So you're coming up with a product. And Genevieve, I'm not just looking at the product and what we see or we stand to gain, but I'm also looking at how the product will appeal. I'm looking at the branding. I'm looking at the
Yeah.
marketing. So women, we have a different eye. So once we help our men and support in terms of leadership with some of these perspectives, it becomes better. So organizations are also more centered now on thinking about how to allow us to play our role as women in leadership and get the work done well.
Thank you so much. And I think to all employers and organizations, the leadership at organizational level, those who make the highest decision in terms of the organization, we need to take a cue, because things have changed. The world has changed. The world of work has actually changed so fast, right? And today, the people that are working, the majority of them, they are the Generation Z's and then the millennials, okay? And these people, it's not about the money, it's not about the pay per se, it's something else. So if the person is a woman and wanting challenging and wanting to go top, and is proving that she can get to the top, and you are preventing her, she will leave. And she leaves, and their talent, you see, John Maxwell says something. It's not like that people will leave, but who will be leaving you is what you should focus on. Because that's what people will leave you. But if your talent, they are leaving you at a stage where they should be with you, then there's a problem, right? So please, organizations and leaders, employers, let's take a cue from this and help. Thank you, Doc. Celestina has the question. Let me read it out so that we can help her. Doc, please, are there conditions that can be put in place that would help women and men have the same level of equity in our workplaces? So it means that the issues
The
are there.
equity issue, yes. And you see, like I said, the statistics are right.
Yeah.
But how can we manage these issues? The word is management, because you see,
Manage
we cannot um, we cannot
entirely
prevent
eradicate.
it from
Yeah.
happening. It cannot be eradicated. It will take a while,
Yeah.
because look, even as women, we all know from our cultural perspective, it has taken women far to get to where we are today. So
Exactly.
everything takes time. But I think there are still very great organizations that have adapted and are doing the new things, or are taking cues from all that we are learning. But in the event where you find yourself in an organization where the equity issue is so much of a problem, I would always say communication. Look, you have line or chain of command. Communicate to your next line. Let the person understand that, look, I'm doing the job exactly how it has to be done. My KPIs I'm delivering. I've been on this role for more than 5 years. No progression, no promotion, but I'm giving you value. Is there no system? I know there are systems in organizations where even if you are not being promoted, you are given some notches, and then
Yeah.
you'll be getting some different salary, um, increments. So it might not be a promotion, it might not be an entirely salary change, but they would increase it small for you to feel
Yeah.
appreciated. So I think this will go to you. You're a human capital person. So
Yeah.
please, let's advocate more and tell organizations that, look, top talents are very, people think, oh, you can leave and go.
Oh
But
no. There's a war
it
for
is
talent, I'm
difficult,
telling you.
exactly, now globally. So you cannot
Yes.
afford to say that the person is giving you value for money, but ego. Organizations also have ego. It's not a human being, but organizations have ego,
Yeah.
because we have people who man these organizations at the top. So I think the equity issue is a reality, but I would still say that be strategic, be very intentional about adding value, because if you've added so much value and you're not getting value for your work there, you have always have the chance to move to the next job.
Yeah.
Is difficult to find. I also have to put that one in place. It's difficult to get a new job and all that, but don't settle for less. Don't make it look like without this particular job, when you are seeing real evidence of equity issues, I think you would have to advise yourself. But I would always say that add value, so that you would be doing different things that will give you fulfillment, and then you can complement it with what you are offering or what you are being offered, even if it is not what you expect. Because the cases are not the same. It's not everybody who can easily say, I'm leaving my job. No,
Yeah.
it's
No.
not everybody who can leave a job and get another job. So we need to we don't have to use one stick to measure everything. We need to be very holistic in our approach.
Awesome. Thank you so much. This is wisdom. I hope, Celestina, we have learned something. And like Doc said from the beginning, some of these things, being intentional also involves you getting a coach. And if you have to pay, I mean, pay and because it won't just happen to you. You really have to position yourself well. And it does these things, sometimes they don't come to us naturally. You need help. You need somebody to open your eyes, like they say, open your eyes to certain things and what you can do, because there are principles, yet there are things that you can do to get you up there. People have done it and the results show. So get yourself, and maybe you will want to, after here, have a chat with Doc. I mean, she helps people, right, get to the top, so she can help you. But thank you so much, Doc, for that answer, and thank you for your question, Celestina. Right. So moving on, it seems nice is going to be you and I, Doc. I think
No problem. I'm here.
Lady
I'm here
Reverend
for you.
is having internet challenges, so it's you and I. Okay, right. So you mentioned work life balance. You said you don't want to call it work life balance. You want to call it integration. So work life balance is often cited as a challenge for women in leadership. Okay, so how can organizations uh, create or make policies that will really support women, that will support women in achieving the balance or
Okay, I think I've
integrate
seen
it,
Lady
like you said?
Reverend now. I've seen Lady
Yes.
Reverend now. So maybe before her internet goes, or maybe she can take it from there, and then I will join in.
All right. Awesome. Welcome back, Lady Reverend.
I'm so sorry. My internet is stable. Don't worry about my internet. So sorry about
Oh,
that.
okay.
That's
All
fine.
right.
Okay.
That's fine. It's good to have you back.
Thank
Okay.
you.
So we are looking at work-life balance because it's usually cited as one of the challenges that women face, women in leadership face. So we want to find out what can organizations do to ensure that women get the balance to also make an impact within the organization.
Uh, hmm. I think for organizations, there has to be a lot of awareness creation and even training sometimes, on building resilience and the work life balance itself, because especially in Ghana, in the economy that we are in, and the situation, around the world, not just even in Ghana. If you look at all that is happening in the world, it can be very depressing, and if you're not careful, you either get burnt out, you are going through depression or frustration or stress, one thing or the other. So
Yeah.
I think we have to have, some initiatives and activities on building resilience. I mean, that is the most important because your mental health, your physical health, and all that is most important. And then, in building resilience, we need to look at the work, and the home balance as well, So for companies, I think they should have more sensitization, more training sessions, more exercises, and initiatives on building resilience.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Reverend. Yes, indeed. Organizations have a role to play because there are some organizations, Doc, Reverend, even when it's time for them to, for people to go on leave, they don't want people to go on leave. But the
Yeah.
framers of the labor law knows how important work-life balance is. And that
Yes.
is why they made provision for a minimum of 50 working days annual leave for everybody
Yes.
working within the
Exactly.
organization. So organizations should, and it's their right, okay, but of course you take it with the consent of your employers.
Yeah,
And
I
sometimes,
think it's sorry, I
yes,
think it's actually not just on the organization. There are some people who actually also will not take their leaves. And in companies
exactly.
where you can take money,
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
in
They prefer the money.
yeah, in place of your leave day of actually going on leave, people would actually stay and work and quote unquote sell their leave days.
Their leave.
Yes. So I think that people should actually not see going on leave as a waste of time or loss of money, but they should see that their health is foremost, family is foremost, because honestly, what time do we have for family? We leave home at dawn to beat traffic to work. We leave the office a bit late to beat traffic back home. And you do this Monday to Friday,
Sometimes even
sometimes.
Saturdays.
Yes.
Yes. And then even if you don't work on Saturdays, you have one event or the other. If you're not going for a funeral, you are going for a birthday, you are going for one thing or the other. So now ask yourself, what time are you making for yourself? One, because self-care is also very important. So
Yeah.
what time are you making for self-care? What time are you making for family? What time are you making for your children? So it is very important that we actually take the leave days. Some people take their leave days to go and write exams in school. Some people take their leave days to travel, and all that. I think we should get to a point where we actually take the leave days not to do anything, just to
Exactly.
rest, relax, take care
Take
of
a
yourself,
vacation.
read a good book, get a massage, spend time with your family, have a movie night, just relaxing. It is very important.
Yes, 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 it is. Thank you very much. And please, the labor law is strongly against selling of leave. So please, if you are caught, you'll be hauled before the labor commission and you'll be in trouble.
Well,
So
I think
please,
for my organization, which I think is worth emulating, you cannot carry your leave. Some people also
overtime.
carry their leave days to the next year and then they accumulate it. For
Mm-hmm.
us, you cannot accumulate your leave. You either go or you lose the
You
days.
lose it. That's
By
all.
the end of the year, you still have leave days. One, you are not going to be paid for the rest of your leave days. You lose it. So then you think of it and so what's the essence then? So you are forced to
Exactly.
take the leave. So I think a lot of companies or organizations should look at it that way.
Yeah. Please take your leave and rest. Okay. Work-life balance. Family first. Family first. Families first. Because the former CEO of Coca-Cola said something and it resonates so well with me. And I'm an HR practitioner, so I appreciate some of these things, right? And family, he said, in life, everybody is juggling five balls, right? So we have that one is family, one is work, one is religion, one is social. There are five, and one of them is made up of glass, right? And the others, I think, no one, the others, one is make up of ball, so you it falls that you can pick it again. But the others, so family, spirituality, social life and all that, when they fall down, crying, broken, right? So you really have to not don't put your work above your family. That's what I'm trying to say. And it's very important that we appreciate. Time is up. So, Doc, if you want to add something to what Dr. Reverend said, and
Um,
then give us your final word as well, because
Thank you so much.
Oh,
I'll
I
just
miss so much. I'm so sorry. We are already at the end. I'm so sorry.
yes, so it's
Oh.
fine.
I liked what she said because I was actually when she was talking, I was just thinking that these organizations are made up of human beings. So the organizations is a body, but the
Mhm.
key leaders that we are talking about leadership. So the key leaders that have been put to man these departments and these roles that others are reporting to. I think
Mm.
as part of KPIs, I had that KPI that says that all my team members are supposed to go on leave. You can't carry forward more than a particular, I think it was 5 days. So you forfeit it. And so, like she said, I would say that look, your leave is for you. I would even bring it down, not family, you yourself. Take care of
Yeah.
yourself. Because look,
Mhm.
if you break down, all other parts that depends on you also break down. And so you first need to think of yourself first. And then
Okay.
now you think of family. As for the work would always be there. But remember that when you are no more, the work will still continue.
Continue.
We will not halt production. We will not halt productivity because Genevieve is not there. The work will still go on. So first of
Yeah.
all, take care of your mental health. Ensure that you are well poised, rejuvenated. Take breaks regularly. Just sleep, relax, like she said. Take some massages, whatever you feel like doing. Relax and make sure that you come back rejuvenated and then you are psyched well to work. So that is just to top up. But my closing remarks will be that as women, because we have centered more on women today,
Yeah.
as women, I'm making a passionate appeal that as women, don't let us be laid back. Now we've spoken about equality, equity. We've been talking about these things a lot. Globally, everybody is talking about it. But as women, let's be ready to take. Nobody would offer it to us on a silver platter. Let's be ready to show up. Let's be ready to be visible. A lot of us on this platform, I'm sure, have one social media account or the other. But are
Yeah.
you being intentional about it? I always say that there are so many platforms. You can be on every of these platforms, but be intentional. I know that my network, my niche is more on LinkedIn. So I'm more active on LinkedIn. Don't be
Yeah.
pressured by what is happening on LinkedIn. People are not telling you what they
Mm-hmm.
really are on LinkedIn and all
Thank
social
you.
media platforms.
You
Don't
put pressure
allow
on
the
yourself for nothing.
don't allow the facade that you see to to cloud your imagination and make you feel that you're not worth being on it. Be your
Yeah.
authentic self. For me, that is what agility is about. Be authentic. Know that this is me, Genevieve. I'm not seeking for anybody's validation. I have my own challenges, but
Yeah.
I'm not on LinkedIn to portray my challenges and to portray who I am and all that. I am there to provide content. I am there to inspire. I'm there to motivate. When you see that I have posted something that inspires you, you take it. You learn
Yeah.
from it. You know that you are also in the position to do and even do more than I have done. So be on the right platforms. That is the first thing I'll say. The second thing I'll say is that prepare yourself for the opportunity so that when the opportunity knocks at your door, you just grab it. Don't wait till the opportunity comes before you prepare yourself. I shared my story with you. I prepared myself. So when the branch management role came, 2.5 years of joining Fidelity Bank, young banker, I grabbed it because I had prepared for that opportunity. The third one I'll talk about is that join strategic networks. Be more collaborative as a woman. And when you get to the top, please remember to hold another woman's hand. It's not competition. Hold
Exactly.
another woman's hand and
Thank you.
get sure that you are pulling her to the next. Even in some cases, if you have to sponsor somebody, sponsor that person to get to the next one because you see potential in that person. So these are a few things I would want to say, my call to action and my takeout for you. Believe in yourself, know that you have all it takes, and so go for it, woman. Thank you.
Go for it. Go all out. Go for it. Okay. Nobody can stop you except yourself. So go for it. Thank you so much.
Thank
There was
you.
a question I wanted, please, production team, if you can put a question. Okay, so lady Reverend, as you give us your final words, kindly help us answer this question from In God We Trust. It says, how best can we as women in leadership get the men that work under us coordinate well without any issues? And I think this is a genuine concern, especially if you get a man that is very traditional, who thinks that he can never report to a woman, and a woman leading him is a no. If you're not careful, it will be a tussle. So how best can such a person do well? And then tie that also to, because I'm bombarded with a lot. Okay, so one. The second
Please
thing is,
bombard me. Please bombard me.
you know, sometimes when even women get to the top, like Doc said, by their own efforts, by God's grace, by adding value, they think that they got there because of, did some men a favor to get there. And I'm using it advisedly because, right. So then help us address these two issues. Then you give us your final words, please.
Okay, I'm not sure if I got the second question fully,
The
but
second
for
question
this,
is, when ladies get to the top, sometimes the people think that they got there not by their own effort
because
or
a
by
man
hard
did
work.
them a
A
favor.
man, yes, a man did them a favor.
Okay, I
So,
get it.
yeah.
All right. So, for the first question, in God we trust, what I would say is you have to have emotional intelligence. You know, it's not just dealing with only men. It's even the ladies who also work under you. It's amazing. I don't know if Genevieve has had these experiences that, when women are in leadership, it's other women who actually, think there's some way, speak
Mm-hmm.
behind them, say all kinds of things about them. So for you as a leader, I think you should have a lot of emotional intelligence. Now there are a lot of courses online, that you can take on emotional intelligence. Read our books, read on emotional intelligence, go to YouTube, watch some videos on emotional intelligence. I think every leader needs emotional intelligence to help you be able to handle those, your subordinates, those who are your peers, and those who are also above you. So that's what I'll say in brief for that question. I don't know if maybe Jennifer might want to chip in something. And then for the second one, some of these perceptions will never change. So you be a confident woman. You know how hard you've worked to be where you are. There are people who would hear your story and be motivated and be encouraged. But as for the naysayers, you don't have to listen to them. Just like the three monkeys, you have ears, but you can't hear. You have eyes, but you can't see, and then you keep your mouth also quiet and just focus. There are certain things that, there is no need to respond to, there is no need to defend yourself, because when you look back, if you're on a race and you look back, it slows you down, your speed and everything. So don't look to the side, don't look to the back, don't listen to naysayers. Just keep forging ahead, keep going forward, keep running your race, keep being confident, and do what you do best.
Awesome, 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 awesome. Thank you so much. Ladies, you've heard it all from Reverend and from Doc. And this one is for free. We know people pay to get such information. But thanks to Global Leadership Group, you have it for free. Thank you so much, Doc. Thank you, Reverend, for making the time to be here. So, ladies, yes, we can have it all, okay? Because leadership doesn't have a gender, like Doc said. And so don't put limitations on yourself. Look up to leaders, women who have made it, and then get inspired for you to know that you can also make it. You just have to be intentional about it. Position yourself well. I'm just summarizing what our guests have said. Position yourself well. Be intentional about it. Believe in yourself. Forget about the naysayers. Keep your focus. You know, when Peter asked Jesus that if you were the one, bid me to come walking on the sea. At the point when Peter had his focus on Jesus, I mean, he was just moving. Immediately he shifted the focus. We know what happened. He began to drown. So keep your focus and forget about the naysay, because whether you like it or not, they will
They'll
say it.
say,
But you believe that, yes, you believe that you got there not by any man's
Patricia,
favor.
please, I have
Not,
not given my closing remarks yet too. I answered I answered your question. I haven't given my closing remarks.
oh, okay, Reverend, then please, your closing remark will end it all for us. Okay.
Okay.
So,
Well, what I
yes,
want
so
to
please,
also add is this, that, I said in the beginning that our experiences make us who we are, and our experiences make us unique,
yeah.
And so I just want to say to every woman who is listening to us that you should never give up. Don't be afraid to start again from scratch, and don't you give up. Sometimes we think that we have gotten to a place in society, and so when we need to start again, it becomes something that is embarrassing for us. It becomes, something that we feel, is beneath us. If I tell you my journey, even in the corporate world, it will baffle you, because being someone who was in ministry for many years, and being out there and on top of things, leading conferences, organizing events, an international speaker, and all that, doing full time ministry. And then later, I decided to come to the corporate world. Believe you me, I started from the customer service desk. And people will come and see me sitting behind the customer service desk, and they felt depressed for me. And they will tell me, oh, this way, Juma way, GM, Fatal, you have to
Beneath
resign.
you.
And I said, I'm not resigning. And I sat in front of that, you know, banking hall, and I smiled and received people, just as I would do in church, because that was what I was passionate about. And customers will walk in and say, wow, what a warm smile to welcome us into the banking hall. And I did that diligently and passionately, and gradually I have gone up to become a transformation manager. And so don't be ashamed to start from scratch. A lot of us have ended up depressed and at home, and we feel hopeless and useless in life because we can't gather the pieces of our lives again and pick ourselves up again and say, you know what, once I'm alive, like Job said, even if a tree is cut down at the center of water, it has hope that it will live again. So wherever you are now, I want to encourage you, pick yourself up again. You are so full of potential and greatness. One thing fails, you fail in another business, does not mean that is the end of you. There's so much seed in you. You still have to plant yourself and you will grow again until you never say die until the bones are rotten. So that's what I want to say to someone today, that rise up, never give up.
Yes.
Fight and keep fighting on. As long as you are alive and you have breath, don't give up and don't be afraid to start from ground zero because you will definitely rise again.
Amen. Thank you.
Wow. Don't you ever, you are not allowed to give up. Don't you ever give up. Giving up is off the table for you totally. Okay. So, ladies, thank you so much, Reverend. And thank you,
Thank
Doc, for
you.
making the
Thank
time.
you.
We are grateful.
Thank you
Right.
too.
Thank you all for watching and for being part of this discussion. This has been the Leadership Talk Show brought to you by the Leadership Group. We do this every month. So we look forward to seeing you again next month where we'll have another insightful discussion about leadership. It's all about leadership. So please follow our social media handles, the Global Leadership Group Limited, everywhere, everywhere on social media. We have on LinkedIn, on Facebook, YouTube. Please follow us and then learn a lot. Leadership is a skill that you learn, okay, and you can improve on it. And this is a forum that you can join us to really continue to learn and shape your leadership skills and become a better leader. And if you're a woman, please don't put any limitations on yourself. And don't you ever give up.
Yeah.
God bless us all. See
Bless you
you
too. Thank you.
next
Bye.
month. Bye.
Thank you.